If you're watching this, the odds are you have already seen my 5 extremely creepy mysteries video. In that, I included the mysterious death of a lady at the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles. Her death has sparked an enormous amount of speculation, with dozens of theories being put forward. So as promised, here are 5 possible theories behind the death of Elisa Lam. If you haven't already seen my 5 extremely creepy mysteries video, I advise you watch it before this video to have a good understanding of the death of Elisa Lam. Click this link to skip straight to the case so you don't have to go through the whole video, and if you have already seen it, then let's begin. Elisa Lam was murdered by a hotel worker or a guest. The thought that Elisa was killed by a hotel worker or a guest is certainly one of the most popular theories out there, and what strengthens it is that video footage of Elisa in the elevator has been examined by experts who in their opinion say she is playing some sort of hide and seek game with another person who is not visible in the video but is most likely in the hallway just out of view. If this is true, then it's possible that they are responsible or know something about her death. On the other hand, people say she was not playing and was in fact trying to hide from an attacker who was in the hallway, and was desperate to escape in what appears to be a faulty lift. Since the surveillance footage is believed to have been captured just moments before Elisa's death, either one of these scenarios lead people to believe that she was indeed murdered. Elisa's body, as we know, was found in the rooftop water tank, which was only accessible through a locked door or a fire exit, and this is not something a hotel visitor would be familiar with, but a long-term resident or employee of the hotel would have been. Also, it was reported that the fire door was alarmed to notify staff if anyone opened it, but no alarm was heard that night. The water tank is also positioned in such a way that it would be hard for a slight young girl to lift the lid, climb in and then close it, which leads people to think that maybe more than one person was involved. Could it have been 2 employees that murdered Elisa? After all, they would have knowledge of the roof space, access to the keys, and the capability to disable the alarm if they did use the fire escape. The fact the hotel Elisa was staying in was far from a 5-star also adds to the murder theory. The Cecil is a budget hotel located in downtown Los Angeles, and since it was built in 1927, it has been the focus of suicides, murders, mysterious disappearances, serial killer residents, and was reportedly the last place Elizabeth Short, aka the Black Dahlia, was seen before her grisly death. It's located near Skid Row, and as you can imagine, is certainly no place for a young lady, so why Elisa chose to stay there is a mystery in itself. There were far cheaper and better options in the area. So with the hotel's seedy reputation and the theory given, you can see why some people believe Elisa was murdered by either a guest or a hotel worker. But what do you think? Whenever there is talk of a conspiracy, there is one thing that is always mentioned: the Illuminati. So let's look at the Illuminati theory, or the thought that Elisa may have been assassinated. Shortly before her death, on the 13th of January, Elisa tweeted an article about a Canadian company who had gained funding from the Pentagon to work on futuristic cloaking devices that were to be used by the military to make their soldiers invisible. The development of cloaking devices is a long-running project between the United States and South Korea, and people think maybe Elisa knew too much. Shortly after her disappearance and before her body was found, several Facebook accounts apparently suddenly appeared using her name. One of these was called Lam Elisa. There was only one friend on its friend list, and this was an American male working for the US Army based in North Korea. This account has since been removed, but why was it there in the first place? A mystery that people also link to an assassination or the Illuminati is that if you use Google Maps to look at the Cecil Hotel, you can clearly see there is a company registered in the building called the Invisible Light Agency. If you research this company, you will see that they are specialists in lighting effects. Linked to the company is a man called Anthony V, who is currently working as a supervisor at a weapon development company. The company's logo is curiously made up of triangles, which is famously linked to the Illuminati sign. And the Invisible Light Agency website that now seems to have vanished was also believed to look fake. So is this just someone looking into things too much, or is this something we are not being told? Now, although this could be linked to a hotel worker covering something up, it has been pointed out that the video footage of Elisa in the lift has been edited before being released by the police. Apparently there was around 1 minute cut from the original clip. But if this is true, why was it edited? During this time, was there an assassin in the video that needed to be edited out before it was released to the police and then the public? Elisa's death was self-induced. At the time of Elisa's death, it was understood that she had been suffering with some sort of mental condition. After her decomposing body was found in the water tank, her death was officially ruled as accidental drowning. Toxicology reports came back negative and there was no evidence of foul play or any visible injuries to her body. So let's look at the video again. Are these the actions of a girl trying to hide or play with someone, or is she so mentally disturbed at this point during a psychotic episode that she couldn't get the lift to work? Or could her strange behaviour in the lift be the result of a drug-fueled frustration? Although, like I said, there were no reported illegal drugs in her system, people say that no toxicology screen is 100% accurate, so it's possible that she did have drugs in her system. In a recent blog written by Elisa, it appeared her suffering was severe, but she also seemed to be coping on her medication and was honest about her condition, often speaking in a matter-of-fact way about her feelings. In the days before her death, she appeared to be happy, and it seems she used the internet to reach out and connect to people, but shortly before her death, Elisa lost her phone. So did this contribute to her state of mind? Unable to contact friends and family may have unsettled or even panicked her, and could have caused her odd behaviour and ultimately her death. It's also thought that the medication she was taking to control her condition has been known to give the user psychosis and hallucinations. So maybe it is plausible that Elisa Lam was either hallucinating on a medication or other drugs, relapsing due to not taking enough medication or having a mental breakdown. She climbed into the tank, which was believed to have been full to the brim with water at the time. She closed the lid as she squeezed in, but then realised she only had a few inches of breathing space, and unable to keep her head above the water, she ultimately drowned. Possession or some other paranormal event. In the video of her last moments in the lift, Elisa pushes buttons apparently at random. Now, there are some people who are confident in what numbers she is pressing: 14, 10, 7, 4 and B. Although this seems impossible to judge by looking at the grainy low-grade video, the numbers she pressed are believed by some to correspond to verses in the Book of John, all of which have links with water. So it's believed that maybe Elisa was possessed by some kind of paranormal spirit that was causing her to act the way she did and forced her to commit suicide. Also linked to the paranormal theory is Aleister Crowley, who is one of the most notorious occultists of his day. Aleister self-styled himself as the 666 Beast and apparently wrote a poem when he stayed at London's Cecil Hotel in the 1800s. The poem is about Jephthah, who is a judge of Israel who sacrifices his own child by burning her alive. The child's name is Selah, an anagram of Elisa. Crowley also drew a picture of an alien-looking being he called Lam, thought to be some kind of extraterrestrial he believed he had contact with. There are many people who say there was something paranormal going on that caused Elisa Lam's death. It's been said that maybe an evil spirit, possibly that of Aleister Crowley, took control of Elisa, and the buttons she pressed were an attempt to break free from the evil spirit by correlating the buttons with verses from the Book of John. But what do you think? The elevator ritual. Although this does tie in with the paranormal theory, it's talked about so much that it deserves a mention by itself. It's the thought that Elisa's death was caused by her taking part in the infamous elevator ritual. It's dubbed the most dangerous game in the world, and many believe that Elisa Lam tried this deadly game that claims to take you to another world. The game is simple. You need an elevator in a single building that is at least 10 stories high. You enter the elevator when it's empty from floor 1, and press the 4th floor button. When the elevator reaches the 4th floor, you press the 2nd floor, then the 6th floor, then the 10th floor, and finally the 5th floor. At this floor, it's believed a young woman will enter the lift. When she does, you are absolutely not allowed to look at her or speak to her. You press the 1st floor button, and if the elevator starts moving to floor 10 instead of floor 1, you may proceed. If it doesn't, get out at the earliest opportunity and do not look back or speak to this woman. If you reach the 10th floor, however, you can choose to stay in the lift or get out. If you do get out, the woman who entered on the 5th floor will ask you where you are going. Do not answer or look at her, and if you have reached the other world, the only person present in it will be you. So that is the basics of this so-called elevator ritual, and it's thought that once the person reaches the apparent other world, they may even pass out and will likely wake up somewhere else. Now, looking at this ritual and the strange way that Elisa was acting, frantically pressing the buttons, lots of people believe she was trying this game out. Could it have gone wrong, resulting in her becoming confused, disorientated, and waking up in the water tank unable to escape? What do you think? Okay, so I'm not sure whether this relates to Elisa Lam's death, or is just an incredible coincidence, but I feel I must include it, so here it is. Elisa's death is eerily similar to a movie called Dark Water. Originally released in Japan in 2002, It was later remade in 2005 in America, some years before Elisa Lam's death. The main character is called Dahlia, who moves into an apartment with her daughter Cecilia. Both names are relevant. Black Dahlia, as we know, was the name given to Elizabeth Short, who was gruesomely murdered in 1947, and who allegedly frequented the Cecil Hotel shortly before her death. And obviously Cecilia, which is very similar to Cecile. The film is about the death of a young girl who drowned in the apartment's rooftop water tank. The new occupants report dark-coloured water leaking through the bathroom. As we know, of course, Elisa's body was found in a rooftop water tank and had apparently been there for 2 weeks. During this time, hotel guests complained of foul-tasting black water coming from their taps. Disgustingly, this was due to Elisa's decomposing body. The ending of the movie is also eerily relevant. The apartment elevator malfunctions, showing the ghost of Dahlia braiding her daughter's hair. Now, it may have no connection whatsoever, but if that isn't a creepy coincidence, then I really don't know what is. So that's 5 possible theories on the death of Elisa Lam. I'd love to hear your views on it and what you honestly think happened to Elisa. Thanks for watching, and see you next week for another video, 5 mind-blowing mysteries of the brain.